So there's this word that's been around for a long time, but seems to be getting used a lot more. That's badass. And while some people may use it as, just ooh, really tough, generally it's meant to describe somebody who is formidably impressive. And then as an adjective, doing something that's really impressive. Oh, that's really badass. So you may have heard me talk about how with tapping, it's like Michelangelo taking a block of marble and chipping away what doesn't belong to reveal the masterpiece inside. And so you can look at the David and go, oh, that's a really badass sculpture. But even the subject, this kid who without armor and just a sling takes on a giant, that's badass. So I likewise believe that there's a badass inside each of us, and so we want to just chip away what doesn't belong to reveal that inner badass. So maybe thinking about how you'd like to be showing up in the world and taking full responsibility for your own well-being. I choose to reveal my inner badass. And I choose to love and accept myself. I choose to unleash my inner badass. And I choose to love and honor myself. I choose to tap into my inner badass. I choose to find my most impressive self. I choose to do badass things. Not to prove anything to anyone, but because that's who I really am. I'm much more impressive than I've allowed myself to know. And I choose to tap into my badass self. And I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. Maybe everyone else. Because that would be pretty badass. I'm tapping into my inner badass. And I'm clearing whatever gets in the way of that. What stops me from being a badass? What stops me from being impressive? What stops me from doing what I can do? What stops me from being who I can be? And part of me might say, there's no badass in there. I'm nothing impressive. And I'm lying to myself. And anyone who told me that I don't have a badass inside me, they were lying too. Or they were just sorely mistaken. And they didn't realize it was true about them too. I'm open to the possibility that there's a badass inside all of us. And I'm tapping into my inner badass. I'm allowing myself to be that impressive. I'm allowing myself to be that formidable. Clearing all the doubts that it's possible. Clearing all the doubts that that badass is in there. And maybe I'm afraid of finding that person. Maybe I'm afraid of finding my inner badass. Because what would that mean? How would people respond? People might be intimidated. Because I might look at someone else who's really being a badass, and I might be really impressed, and I might be really intimidated. And I'm afraid to be that badass. And that's just because of old beliefs, old programming, all this old misinformation that tells me it's not okay for me to be a badass. And it's misinformation. And I'm clearing that at a cellular level. Clearing it all the way back through my past. Setting myself free to unleash my inner badass. In body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath. Come on, you know you're a badass. Share it with the world. It's going to do great things for you and countless others, so thanks for doing that.